Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. One of the toughest drafts to be a part of. It's 20 people, all to their own, 9 cats, 10 rounds. How do you think we'll go? Drop it in the comments below, but it's here right after this. Hello and welcome back to Ball Logic. I'm your host this afternoon, The Horse, and joining me is the man who had numbers for Father's Day breakfast and lunch. It's Malley. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. And, you know, what I should be most concerned about is that when I put these headphones on, even though you haven't podcasted with me in a bit, you didn't even, raise an eyebrow. So that's of greatest concern that you just think this is just part of my everyday look.
It's just normal, isn't it? So,
well, for some.
For the people that are watching at home on YouTube, you can see that he's got the fluffy purple headphones on with some rabbit ears. But for those that are listening on audio, they look just as good as what I've described them to be. So they are a fantastic look, and no doubt you can grab them from Big W for about $10.95.
That's it, mate, yeah.
Today, we are talking 20-man. This draft starts in about 5 minutes' time, mate. But before we start, you and I have both been a part of Carl's Ball Logic, Ball Page drafts for a number of years now. It's a pretty tough draft, isn't it? You've really got to be careful or strategic with how you go about your drafts.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no, he'll come back around to me. There's no coming back around to you. I think it makes people go a little earlier on their guys just because they're like, I'm not going to see him for another 20 picks, potentially. You know, there's just so much you got to think about with this. And I just like the challenge of it because whereas a regular 12-man, you will well and truly everyone on your team is a household name. Whereas when we play in these 20-man leagues, it really makes you think about guys who are, maybe the 7th, 8th, 9th men in their rosters. And it's nothing more exciting than one of these guys that you have no idea about. And then all of a sudden they come in and start doing great things for 2 weeks and you were the one to grab them.
100% waiver-wise, very important in a 20-man league. Because we are going, today we're going 200 players deep, but it's even more important when you start the season that you're not just getting your primo players right, the players that you're picking in your first and second round, players that you're talking about, for example, your 5th round, where you're normally picking in the 60s, in these sorts of formats, you're picking in the hundreds. So it's really important that you're doing your homework and you're finding value in that format or in and around those rounds, because that can set you up early for success, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not for the faint-hearted. Mistakes in drafting probably do cost you more in this type of format. And I think as well, you probably have to punt. I haven't seen anyone close to having a balanced build win a 20-man comp, just because you're already spreading yourself across the 9 categories. And, when your 4th or 5th starter might be someone who's not even an actual NBA starter, it just makes a big difference. So this is my world. This is the punter's paradise, and I'm happy to be here in it.
Is there a particular category that you look to punt early on, as we see our other man, the man who writes up all our Patreon articles for those that are a part of the Patreon, Flanders, who's joined us? How you doing, mate?
Oh, mate, better now that I don't have technical issues. Microphones and my PC don't seem to like each other, but we're back here. We're keen to be here, mate.
Before we get back to you, Malley, what have you done for your Father's Day so far, Flanders?
Mate, I've cleaned the house, mate. Not a great deal, mate. I got dinner tonight, so keen to get a mock draft out of the way first. Hopefully start off on a good note.
Yeah. And as per usual, we've got Deadly slinging shit in the chat already, saying that he reckons he's won this draft before it's already started.
Has he won any draft ever?
No, never. He's never won anything in his life. I think participation awards is what he's got hanging from his bedroom door. Malley, what categories are you looking to punt early here if you are looking to punt from the get-go?
I think maybe the deeper the league, like this here, I've never played in a 30 deep one. This 20 is as deep as I'll go. I can't go any deeper than that, mate. I'd drown. I can only go where I can stand on my tippy toes in the pool. That's pretty much the same mentality I've got here. But, I think you can punt those bigger categories. You can punt an assists or maybe a rebounds category, a points category most easily. I actually really like doing a punt points category. I don't think I'll be bothered today because I believe I'm drafting 5th or 6th or something in this, so that probably isn't effective. But when your first draft pick is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you probably are going to land someone in your first pick, maybe like a Scotty Barnes, who is a valuable player who does a lot, but realistically, points isn't going to be one of them. So I think maybe unlike a 12-man where it's probably a punt, steals or blocks or one of those, low count kind of cats. I think in this one, maybe you could go those higher end ones, the points, steals, points, rebounds, and assists, and definitely one of the percentages.
100%. Flanders, you're picking from 11 in this draft, smack bang in the middle. So you don't have to wait too long in between all of your picks as they come through. Is there a particular strategy that you're looking at going with?
No, I think I'm going to see sort of what comes to me by the time the second round comes around. I haven't actually done anything 20 deep, and sort of doing the maths about where I'm going to end up is, unknown. We didn't know where we were picking from until I jumped in the draft room about 3 minutes ago. So I wasn't going to try outthink the room. I'll see what come second and third rounds, and then we'll make it up from there. I love making it up on the fly.
Yeah, 100%. You got to be able to have that sort of mindset where you're going to get sniped. It always happens in drafts, but especially somewhere where your picks are so valuable, you being in the middle, you've got 20 picks at any one time maximum between any of your picks. But myself and Malley, I'm at 2, Malley's at 5. We've got 30 odd picks in between our first and our second picks. So it's important that, you know what you're going for right from the start. As we see, the draft is clicking into just under a minute before we get started here.
The other thing too is, Horse, when you're probably playing in this deeper format, you probably aren't willing to take a punt quite so early. Where realistically we're starting to pick those, with your last or second last pick in a 12-man, you're willing to start to take some risks because if they don't play out, it's really not going to impact your team too much. Whereas a really deep league like this, your 10th, 11th player is still going to be such a big contributor. So maybe we'll see less rookies or second years go off the board, and people might go for some guys who are later in their career and still putting up numbers, but are obviously on the decline.
For sure. As we see, the draft has kicked off, and Driz, wherever he might be, has got the first Wemby.
Wemby.
Yeah, is that a surprise to you, Flanders?
A little bit. I think in this sort of format, I'd be more inclined to sort of take Jokic there. So I think you'd be happy to see Jokic fall to you there, mate. Again, he's going to fill all your categories. And as Malley said, we're not looking to probably punt in this deep. So Jokic doesn't really give you a punt. So I'll happily take that.
100%. So we see the usual 3, usual 4 going early. Malley, is it Giannis at 5, or are you high on anyone else?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with Giannis in this in a 20-man because that he leans very heavily into punt. The categories that he's strong at are going to put me off to a really great start, and those that he's weak at, there's no point me trying to grasp at straws and rebuild them. So yeah, it's Giannis to begin with, and that's probably a pretty standard 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. Now I understand that the camera's in the way of some of these picks, so I will read out these picks as they come along in case anyone doesn't appreciate looking at Flanders, myself, or Malley's head while we're drafting here on Father's Day in Australia. Richard, thank you for the comment, mate. We do our best as we see Cade Cunningham going at 6. He's really come in, hasn't he, Flanders, over this preseason? He was being drafted early on, 10, 11, 12, but now inside the top 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with him. He's sort of sitting in that sort of Anthony Edwards area for me as well. I think if he hasn't crept up my draft board, he just needs an update, if anything else. So I'm really keen for Cade and Ant somewhere in that 6 to 8 range.
Yep. Love it. Edwards at 7. Sorry, Malley.
I was just going to say those guys seem to be in the drafts that we've done in shallower competitions been, what's the word I'm looking for? You swap them around.
Interchangeable.
They're interchangeable. Thank you. There we go. My vocab lesson for my Sunday. Yeah, those guys are definitely interchangeable. Cunningham and Edwards. Edwards potentially, ranked higher last season, but some of the things he did were maybe unreplicable. There you go, a word you can steal back from me. So we're even, just with his shooting percentages and his threes, how many he's sunk. So I think Cunningham might catch him a little bit more. Towns is an interesting one at the 8th pick for 2025-26 season.
How do you see that minutes rotation going at New York? He's definitely going to be getting 3 to 4 minutes less per night.
Yeah, and I guess now that they've got Mitchell back in a position where he can probably play some of the big man minutes, and they've got Jordan Clarkson as well, someone who can go out there and shoot. So, yeah, I think they've just got some more flexibility. Yeah, that's the man.
Yeah, spot on. So they've got Mitch Robinson with a full preseason, not being injured. He is going to play more minutes. Karl Anthony Towns will play less. Maybe able to stretch the 4 and play the 4 a little bit as well as the 5. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, but 8 might be a little bit high for him. Anthony Davis at 9, if he can stay injury-free, that's a pretty good get there. Matrix taking Trey Young at 10. Devin Booker, pretty happy with that at 11, Flanders?
Yeah, pretty happy. It was a toss-up between him or Harden. I was thinking probably a bit more upside of the assists with Harden, but again, I'm probably really high on the Devin Booker keys to the city vibe that he's getting there, so I'd like to sort of see what can be built there. I think I'll just happily take a guard and punt turnovers. And yeah, I think I'll be able to pick up some assists sort of rounds 3, 4.
And I think too, like he's probably not going to reach Harden in assists, especially because Harden is going to be dishing out more than he's actually shooting this season. But Booker's going to get plenty more on what he had last year. And he's also going to get the points and the threes that Harden will probably miss a little bit this season. Harden may be more known for his defensive stat collection, maybe not his defensive ability, but his defensive stat collection. He gets steals and blocks for a man of his effort and stature, where Booker, he's never heard of him.
Now we see the first surprise going there at 15 for me. Alper and Şengün going at 15 with still the likes of Curry, Durant, Mitchell, and those sorts of players on the board. I reckon that might be a little bit of a reach, but going back, Braino's taken LaMelo Ball at 12. Flanders, with his injury history and inability to stay on the court in a 20-man league, is that a risk too much, or are you willing to punt or go upside with someone like LaMelo Ball?
I see a few ways you can look at that. You can buy into the upside of LaMelo Ball and everything he can offer to Charlotte. I think the injury risk is probably a bit too high for me, especially picking at 12. I would have thought probably around the 15, 16 mark I'd be jumping on that. But yeah, 12 is you're banking a lot on upside. And I know we all say it a lot around here. We don't like to draft on injuries, and you can't draft on injuries.
100%. Yeah.
Well,
bonus. Sorry, at 13, Harden at 14. Şengün, as we said, 15. Steph Curry at 16. Durant has fallen down to 17. Really good value there. I'll cut you off. Sorry, Malley?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm also concerned about the fact that he's playing potentially a whole season with a decent, two-man. Obviously, after his injuries last season, Brandon getting back in there and playing again this season. Knipple as well. As the season kind of builds, like that, he just probably won't get the usage that he got last season. And I mean, as you said, we can't really plan for injuries, but at the same time, I don't know, in a 20-man league like this, that's a lot of ground to pick up if he does get injured.
Isn't it? Yeah. As we're rounding out the end of the first round here, Donovan Mitchell at 18. The Cleveland guard, his Cleveland teammate, Evan Mobley at 19. Now we're on the turn at 20. Still some decent players left. Jalen Williams, Tyrese Maxey, LeBron James at 20. Probably getting on a little bit for me to be picking him in the first round. But is there anyone that's left now, Malley, where if you're on the turn, you'd love to stack together to use as part of your side here in a 20-man fantasy draft?
I'd love to be in King Josh 24's position if Jalen Johnson makes it through the turn here at 20 and 21. That as a pairing, a 1-2, that's going to make me very nervous with the build that I'm going for. So I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I'm hoping he steers away and picks up a Maxi or, maybe a Tyler Hero or something that isn't going to impact the build I'm going for, because if you punt, because I have to make my decision relatively early in a 20-man comp. I've really, when I'd leave something to maybe the third pick or fourth pick in a 12-man, I really have to do it in half the time. So on this second pick, I'm really committing to whatever my punt's going to be. And if I know that I'm third, fourth, fifth in that punt, that makes me extremely nervous because I can't come fifth in my punt because then I'm going to come, 15th overall because there's going to be another 10 teams who are going for different builds that are going to knock me silly. I do like the Jalen Williams and Tyrese Maxey pairing, but I don't like that that's going to probably put King Josh in a position to pick up Jalen Johnson or Jaren Jackson would be nerve-wracking for me.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a nice little stack there.
A
lot of defensive players here that could potentially go early here in the second round. Hopefully it's not an auto draft and he grabs LeBron James. See that he's not online, and it is. So he's now on auto draft Evan Mobley with LeBron James. Probably not the ideal coupling, but as you said, if he was online or if you're watching at home, Evan Mobley with someone like Jalen Johnson, that would be perfect in a format like this.
Yeah. And 22nd pick, that's still a good pickup for for LeBron James. It's not like they absolutely stitched him up with a Tatum. So there's still a guy who's in the right place for value, but it's just what's left on the board. It wouldn't have been my pick.
For sure. Flanders, how do you see LeBron James's output being this year?
I think he's definitely pushed himself, obviously, the second person on that team. We're all well aware of that. It'd be interesting to see what the impact of having an actual center rolls with him. They haven't really had an actual center at LA in yonks. And then what's the outlook with Reeves? Do they choose to use Reeves a bit more and keep him there and keep him active? Like, that's probably more my concern with LeBron this year.
Bloody G.
He grabbed him, yeah.
Yeah.
Does injury worry you with Johnson, given that he's never played a full season?
What probably worries me more is the combination of potential injury coupled with the fact that they can kind of interchange him and Porzingis. So if Jalen's a bit beaten up, they'll sit him and let Porzingis have a go, and then Porzingis will come on, like they'll go vice versa there. I think that's more my concern, is that they will play some time together, but I don't think it'll be a lot. I think, especially if they're going to be a decent shot at being in the playoffs rather than the play-in, I think they'll definitely slow their roll at a time that could be damaging to us, aka March, when the playoffs for fantasy kind of roll around.
I see Josh Giddey starting to really creep up boards lately too, Malley, with him being taken inside the top 30 again here. Him being picked at 28 here, is he being picked at his absolute ceiling, or do you think there's a season coming where this could be the norm for him with potential top 20 upside?
To be fair, I would have picked him in Ball League had this been 2 years ago and we were triple doubles. I think he would have been going around here. It's a little bit lost on me too. I don't really get it. I know what he can do, and we probably saw him get let loose a little bit in the second half of last season to see what he could do. And to me, that wasn't putting him halfway through the second round in a 20-man draft. But yeah, it's not like he can't do it. It's just that I don't think he'll do it. And I also I feel like this will be a big year for White, and I feel like he might take a little bit of the shine off Josh Giddey. I don't know. Yeah. Not for me. You want to read some of these players?
Yeah, Tyler Herro at 29, at 30. Chet Holmgren to you, Flanders. Partnering him with Booker.
Yeah, we're punting field goal percentage here hard, so. Yeah, the turnovers are not too bad by him, but we're just going to punt the field goal percentage pretty hard out here. And yeah, I'll pick up some blocks and some defensive stats there. So pretty happy to secure the counting stats there at the sacrifice of field goal percentage.
Malley, how do you like the stack of Anthony Davis and Amen Thompson?
That's pretty cool. Like, he's obviously going for somewhat of a defensive build. Davis, I think, was going to be a big scorer. I'm actually going to put out a post I was working on about who I think will continue to be a 25-point-a-night scorer, who's going to slip from the present or last year's 25 points per game, and who I think is going to sneak into it. And I had Davis, who was only fractionally outside anyway. I think it was like 24 and a half. So it was basically a 25 point a night scorer. But yeah, I think I think Davis is probably going to get up there. And then to have Amen Thompson, who's not that guy, being your second pick, it kind of seems like a little bit of a waste of what's going to make Davis great this season. But he's definitely now maybe thinking away, moving away from points. If you're picking up Amen Thompson in 20-man as your second pickup, you're probably not going to be super competitive. You're either going to be league average or below.
For sure. So the second round so far, LeBron James at 21, Jalen Brunson at 22, Ja Morant 23, Jalen Johnson 24, Jackson 25, Barnes, Giddey, Hero, Holmgren by Malley and Flanders, Adebayo, Thompson, Fox, Miles Turner, Paolo Banchero, and you've just picking up Zion Williamson to go with Giannis. Talk to me.
So, I mean, he kind of does Giannis type things. My field goal percentage is going to be great, and I haven't even picked up a center yet. Threes are gone. Forget about them. Free throws are definitely gone. Assists are still very achievable. Rebounds, as I said before, pretty good. Points, good. I love this. I mean, if I could punt this heavily in a 20-man, I'd be stoked. We know that Zion's always a bit of an injury risk, and with the way Milwaukee may go, Giannis might have more nights off than we expect. So I might have just shot myself completely in the foot. But yeah, that's a pretty strong comparing in my mind.
It's very strong, isn't it? Yeah. Especially if Zion can stay healthy.
Yep.
That would be brilliant. As we see, Flag at 37, 38 Siakam, 39 I've taken Derek White to pair with Jokic. Wembanyama has been paired with Bane and Drizz on the turn here. He's had to wait 39 picks for his second turn. It's a long time to wait, isn't it, Flanders?
It is. The joys are going, like, you're only going to get 10 picks in this draft, and there's going to be 200 players go off the board here. It's crazy. It's feast or famine for you guys at that end.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm pretty surprised. Dry Ice had the first pick, and he chose to pick Wemby over Jokic, which to me in a 20-man would be, I want to get my blocks sorted. So I'm going to be absolutely guaranteed to win blocks every week. And then he's gone Bane and Brown, who'll probably get a block between them each week. That just seems a wild way to go about it. Like, his points are going to be great. His assists for someone who hasn't even got a point guard yet are going to be great. Threes are going to be great. It just seems a bit strange. Like, why not pick Jokic if that was, maybe he read the room, maybe he's terrified of my Zion Williams and Nakumbo build, or old mate at whatever he was, 19, who's got blocks pretty well sorted. Look, this might be the same as I just said about Amen Thompson, and might be too early to start giving away points, but he's another guy who, if we did punt trying to avoid a category, which I've just talked to people about that not being the case, this pick here with me, Dyson Daniels, has pretty much assured me that I'm going to be coming absolute dead last in free throw percentage. But my field goals, again, don't even have a center yet, and my field goal percentage is going to be delightful. I've got assists pretty well sorted, steals and blocks both looking pretty good now. So, I've just got to make sure that I'm going to be able to win 5 categories, which is my plan.
Starting to come together really nicely. Denny Avdia at 43 Flanders. It's probably, along with Şengün, 2 of the probably biggest surprises so far in this draft.
Yeah, like Şengün going off the board as the first Houston guy I probably expect to see him most of the time as the second guy, and even maybe sometimes a third guy for someone reaching on a men. But I don't like Avdia that high either.
Yeah,
it's
Jalen Green
early, but he must be your guy.
We'll get to that in a sec, Malley, but we've got a few surprises coming on here. The commish has taken Zubac with his third pick, number 44 in this draft. And for me, you're going to get good field goal percentage. You're going to get blocks. But how much time is Brook Lopez going to eat into Big Zubac's time at the Clippers, Malley?
Yeah, possibly a bit. And I think just besides that, there's probably, for me, better centers on the board. I know that Vooch could get traded and doesn't really put up any blocks, but Kristaps is still in there. Maybe he's trying to avoid because Luca can be known to miss a little bit of time here and there.
Yeah.
Walker Kessler even would have been okay. Maybe that's a toss-up. So maybe I'm talking myself around. It's probably not a bad pickup if you wanted a center to do the things that he's going to do. But yeah, when we get to Jalen Green, that one's a little bit more of a head scratcher. I can understand. I like that pick with Edwards and Green together. I think that's cool. I just would have thought there'd be another two dudes in his lineup.
He could have waited till the 4th or 5th round to get Jalen Green, couldn't he?
Yeah, maybe not the 5th, but I reckon the 4th, yeah.
Now, Joel Embiid at 46, Flanders. Is this too early for someone who, like, it's been well publicized that he's got next to no cartilage left in one knee, which means bone on bone, he's going to be managed, he's going to miss games. And that's not, they're rested games. They're not games where he's injured in or been injured in. Where are you drafting someone with such a red flag when we're talking injuries? Is 46 too high, even though his absolute upside is top 10 fantasy-wise, but his games played is absolutely shocking.
Yeah, he's one of the guys where you don't actually consider him having an 82-game season. A full season for him is 60, and I think even then you're not really getting 60 games out of him this year. Especially, I would have been. He doesn't really fit the need in that build, I guess, as well. I would have been happy to have leave him if he came around in the 4th round and you're in the same spot. Yeah, another 30 picks later down the line. Yeah, okay, I'd take him. But other than that, I didn't like it. Don't like him in the 3rd there.
No,
not that early in the 3rd.
Jalen Green, Malley, let's talk. Far too early at 47.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, as I said, you can probably take a few liberties if there's just a guy that you're kind of really excited about getting. But I even think at that, like, let's look at who could do what he does, but better, who was still on the board. Like Austin Reeves. I know he's the 3rd guy in LA, whereas you could probably argue that Jalen Green is the 2nd, at least scoring-wise. So I'd probably have him. I probably have Zach LaVine, who I think they're going to make more of a show of in Sacramento this year at the expense of some of the other guys. Sure. Jordan Poole, I probably would have taken him. At least he doesn't have all the downsides that that Jalen has. Who else? We got Kobe White. Yeah, there's just too many other guys that I just would have picked up, but maybe he sees something that we don't.
Maybe. Murray, 48. That's Jamal. Kawhi at 49. Let's see how that news that's come out about him getting his money in other means turns out. Trey Murphy at 50. Kristaps Porzingis. Pingus is at 51. Lauri Markkanen at 52. I really like what Brano's building there with Ball, Hero, and Markkanen. Vooch at 53. Mark Williams at 54. Flanders, someone who has been oft injured when he was at the Hornets. Was he really injured? Or were they resting him? Or were they managing him? How do you see this playing out in Phoenix for Mark Williams?
I don't think we can doubt the injury considering the Laker trade got vetoed. Like, there's at least something going on there. I believe they're probably heads were saying if we can keep him not injured, then he's still tradable. If we get him injured, then all bets are off. But I like the upside that they've bought into there. I think he and Book are going to play well together. I'm excited for what there is there. And I think probably in this 20-man deep, it's probably fair value between where he got him is probably the top end value, but he probably could have gone anywhere in the next 15 picks after that as well, 15, 20 picks. But I like buying into, an upside my guy sort of feel there.
Jordan Poole at, 55? Peyton Pritchard, early, 56. Now, the news of him starting, that sort of elevated his stock in fantasy basketball, Malley. Is this around about where he's going now? And would you be comfortable picking Pritchard inside the top 3 rounds in a 20-man draft?
I think that he can do it, and I think that he can put the stats together quite easily. He may end up being the highest scoring Celtic. He's just fun to watch, but what I worry about is how early they shut him and the rest of the team down. Do they not see him as a big part of the future? And in fact, the shutting down of Jalen and the shutting down of Derek might just Super Saiyan him. So, like, I guess there's two ways you can think about it. Clearly, G thinks it's going to be the latter, where, the other guys are going to get shut down. They're just going to say Pritchard just like go absolutely bananas while everyone else kind of just waits for the 26-27 season. But yeah, there's a little bit of fear with your third pick that may not occur. I worry a little bit for Donny, who's now got 4 guards. One of them's one's got forward capabilities in Hart. Yikes, he's going to really be
he's on struggle street.
Yeah, like he's going to have to take some worrying centers and forwards pretty early on.
We see Reeves at 57, Darius Garland at 58, Jimmy Butler at 59. King Josh has the Evan Mobley, LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine stack. Jarrett Allen at 60, and D. Cole, what's he got? Jalen Williams, Tyrese Maxey, Jarrett Allen, and Miller from the Hornets there.
Love
Josh
Miller.
Hart at 63, OG Anunoby, 64. Jakob Potel from the Toronto Raptors, Flanders at 65. Good blocks, good field goal percentage. Shitty ass from the line, though.
Yeah. It's an interesting pairing going with Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton's sort of a hard one for us to judge with what that field goal percentage is going to look like this year. Obviously, we know Jaylen Brown's going to be putting up a lot of shots, but I don't think we've actually seen Pritchard in some good, solid minutes to see what his shots are going to be like with starters on the court. So it's interesting taking him that high just because we've not seen him play with a starting crew before and how they're actually going to use him there. I know his usage and 3 points are pretty high when he comes off the bench, but as a starter?
Yeah. And this is something I want to throw out to you guys. He's been good in that 6-man role for the Celtics for so long. Now that he's coming up against the actual starters now and starter level defenses, he's not playing against the second teams, I guess, in the NBA. I'll ask you first, Malley. Could this mean more shots, maybe a regression in field goal percentages? Or do you think this is now prime outbreak Peyton Pritchard season?
Well, if they realize he's the only one out there who can hit him, obviously there's going to be a lot of pressure. I don't think he's the kind of guy who's just going to like line someone up and like one-on-one him. And I mean, I know he's got wild handles. I've seen all these videos of him playing in the garage. But yeah, I don't think so. I think he's not a superstar. He's just a guy that's probably been hidden on a deep roster for a long time, and now he's getting his chance to kind of come out of his shell a little bit. I thought I'd had Nate Dogg. I thought he had his team all worked out. He had Hard, and then he had Barnes, and I thought, here we go. He's definitely going out of position to assists and rebounds because those guys do plenty of that. And I was like, he's not going for points. Then he got Mark Williams, and I was like, all right, points are out the window, but rebounds, assists are looking nice. His percentages overall are looking good. And then he went and got Kobe White, who I think is an awesome pick up there. I'm just confused about the direction. I like the team. I'd love that as a 12-man team with a few extra pieces hidden in between. But he's thrown me for a loop, old Nathan Doggist.
That's the beauty of mock drafts, isn't it? Being able to get that repetition in to get your teams right. Our man, the brain, has picked up Brandon Ingram at 70. What's that? 79? 69. Nice. 70, Julius Randle, Flanders. The man who can be good, but can be pretty shit when we're talking field goal percentages and the one-man band.
That's fine by me. That's what I'm cool with that now. I've punted field goals. They are well gone out the window. I got Porzingis, mate. We're well gone here. I got Devin Booker, I got Porzingis, I got Chet, and I got Randall, mate. Field goal percentage, if I am not last, I will be mad.
Walker Kessler to Matrix at 71. Jalen Duren with Kawhi, Thompson, and Davis. So that's very defensive heavy for read a book on me. Riley picked up Gader, the French breadstick, at 73. Wow. McDaniels from Minnesota at 74, Malley. He was a waiver wire pick for much of last year.
Yeah, I think that was a flash in the pan. I don't buy that. I'm really struggling now because all the guys I want don't get me any points, and I got to get my points now. Like I want Saar, I want Harnstein, I want Ware, I want Thompson, Kamara. Like my whole list is filled with guys who just aren't going to score. Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm going to go quickly. I don't want him there. Oops.
You can leave him for me if you like.
Oh, no, I got Saar.
No,
Whoopsies.
you got Saar.
Oh, well, that'll do.
Well, that'll do. You got your centre forward flex.
And I actually think Saar's going to score quite a bit this season. There's no one else really as a centre, and hopefully, well, I think he's going to score a lot more than what he did. It's a shame that I was doing so well in my field goal percentages, and he's absolutely going to like shit all over that. Yeah, I think I can weather that. I can weather that storm with Giannis, Zion, and Dyson Daniels. I think even with that as a cap, but my blocks are well and truly sorted. I can basically chill on those, and whatever blocks I get now, that's cool. Unfortunately, that does mean all those guys I just listed that I probably could have got on the turn here: Hartenstein, Ware, Asar Thompson, Kamara, Buzelis, Eason, Klingon, all these guys who probably won't score more than 10 points are really kind of gone for me, which sucks. But I'll have a little dig now and see what I can find.
Yeah. After McDaniels, there was Aiton at 75, Sar at 76, Miles Bridges at 77, Nemhard, who I am pretty high on, and I would have taken in the next two picks, but he went at 78 to Kizza. I end up going with Quickly, so plenty of points, assists, get some steals as well to pair with Wagner, White, and Jokic. Is that Mikal Bridges at 80 now? Yep.
They've been going pitch and pair recently. Yeah.
Who's that?
Both the Bridges brothers sort of hanging out together.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I'm not sure what to expect out of Mikal Bridges at New York this year. Less minutes, new coach. It's going to be interesting when you've got so many mouths to feed. Brunson, Bridges, OG Anunoby, Towns. Then you've got JORDANCLERKSON off the bench. Who does he even know how to pass, Malley?
No, but maybe they can teach him. Or, great things come under great stress, and maybe that'll just work out for him. But I wouldn't say it's a huge part of his game. Nemhard there, he's another guy who I probably have seen going earlier than that. That's a probably fairly respectable place. But I mean, it reminds me of that. What's that thing on Family Guy where it's like, you can have the boat or you can have the mystery prize. And he's like, oh, man, I hope I get the boat. And he picks the mystery prize. And, like, why get Nemhard when you could get Quickly? I know Quickly had some injury concerns last season and maybe that scared him off. But, like, I don't know, like, Quickly's just the man. And I just think people forget, too, even though we didn't see him a lot without Tyrese out there, Halliburton, I just think that we did see him as a starter. It's not like he's not a Peyton Pritchard where he was just like a versatile, first or second guy off the bench. Nemhard played as a starter in pretty much all the games. I don't know, like people just think he's going to take this giant leap, and I'm really not here for it. Now, with my pick, after all those guys who I wanted are still on the board, I've got a little bit of a decision to make. I can go Paul George and hope that he kind of rebounds back again because I know that he can score. And I know that he's still a top 5 kind of steals guy, but I worry about everything that goes on with him. So I'm going to play it potentially a little bit safer. This guy gets no defensive stats, but I think I've got that pretty well covered. I need points now because they're going to be pretty much gone by the time we get to the next round. I'm going to go Cam Johnson.
Yeah, good pick. I like that. Cam Thomas, the pick before you, Flanders. So he's betting a bit on himself. He got offered a 2-year, $30 million deal, which he said no to. And then there was a 1-year, was it $12 million deal? And he said no to. So he's coming back on a 1-year, $6 million. Sorry, the 1-year, $12 million deal was without a no trade clause. He said no. So he's got that no trade clause in his 1-year, $6 million deal.
Yep.
And is basically betting on himself to have a massive year to get paid next year.
I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of just that attitude. And I think you need to have the confidence that you're going to be that guy. And I think he could at least prove that on the Nets, as long as they give him the playing time that they should give him, that he can prove that he's at least worth something to somebody, and it's going to be worth more than 15 million a year.
For sure.
Maybe not a lot more. I reckon he's probably 20, 22 million a year. But I think he's going to prove that he's worth it somewhere come next off season.
I think he needs to do more than just score.
Yep.
Like he jacks shots for the fun of it, and I understand that points are great, but when you're talking about a team sport like basketball, he probably needs to do a little bit more in order to get the bag. But as we see here, Osar Thompson at 81. I've taken Porter at 82, Hartenstein at 83, Cam Thomas 84, Johnson, nice pick by you, Malley, 85, Bradley Beal, which I can envision having a bounce back season this year at 86, Naz Reid 87, Onyeka Okongwu, really like his game, but again with Chris Stapps, Tingus Pingus there at Atlanta. I'm just not sure about how that minutes rotation is going to go. Christian, I want to say Braun, but I know it's Brown at 89. Malley, Okongwu with Tingus Pingus there at Atlanta. How do you see that rotation or center rotation going there?
Well, he was capped by Capella, and now he's capped by someone who's even better than Capella. You'd say that is probably going to be dangerous territories for him, especially if he doesn't start and they play huge. Like, I can't see them putting Jalen Johnson at the 3. That just seems like he's out of place too much to get both Okongwu and Porzingis in there at the same time. So I guess they're going to do like a little weird. I think he'll still get plenty of minutes because he can play power forward. I guess he'll play all the minutes that Jalen Johnson's not going to play at power forward, and he's going to play all the minutes that Porzingis won't play at center. Porzingis also is the man of glass, unless he's playing for his country, where he's like just doing whatever he wants without any sort of limp or anything winces on his face. So I think he's still going to get plenty. And I even think at that spot, who cares? Like, that's still great value from him. We're late enough in the, like, when you're contesting who he's going against, like Christian Brown, Paul George, Dre Green, I take him over those guys. I take him over Naz Reid, who went before him. Like, I think he's going to have more opportunity than Naz. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with that. I actually don't mind his team, to be fair. What's he like? I like Fox. I like Towns, Murray, Gobert, Okongwu. It's a little bit of an aging team. There's some older bones on there, but not ancient. So,
for sure. Paul George ends up going to Matrix smack bang on 90. So we're almost halfway through our draft here. Draymond Green straight after him. Norman Powell to Mr. Brain. Flanders, we did the Miami Heat team preview together. If you'd like to check that out, it is on our socials and then on our YouTube and on all good audio devices or platforms, sorry. Norman Powell at 92. Do you see that being pretty nice there? Do you see that being around about where he should go, or do you think that's too high?
I think it's about market value. I think everyone sort of got off him a bit, sort of moving out of Clipperland over to the Heat. But I still think it's going to be more of the same. So I think there's value to be found there, just before the 100 mark with Norman Powell. I think when you're looking at what we're doing here with 20-man teams, and I'm dead in the middle here, and I have still have 20 picks, like 20 picks before my next pick. And some of you guys are playing 38 picks between guys. Like, you've got to reach sometimes, and it does some weird things to the draft boards where people are taking guys 10, 15, 20 picks earlier just because of locations that they are picking from. You need your guy, get your guy.
For sure. Anthony Simons there at 93. Don't mind it. I think he's going to get a lot of ball early, and Boston were on the market to try and on-sell him after acquiring him from Portland, but not getting any takers just yet. So do they maximize his trade value early on and get the ball in his hands a lot? Probably, given that it's going to be the Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown show there, Malley. Any thoughts on
Not particularly on that, but I do have another thought which I'll share with you because I love filling the airways. I was just thinking what Flanders said there. If you want your guy, you got to get your guy. Just to play devil's advocate for that, I think in 20-man, I understand that as a logic because they may not be there when you get back. But reaching in this is kind of dangerous. If you reach in 12-man, 10-man, or if you're playing tiny in an 8-man, it doesn't really matter because you can make up for it in your next pick. Like if you make an error, and I know error is a weird kind of term to use in this, but if you pick someone who's probably going to be 2 rounds of value behind or a round of value behind, and you do that once or twice, you're basically throwing a guy out of your team and giving them to someone else. And I think that, that's dangerous. I still probably would live by what Flanders said. Like if there's someone you want within reason, you probably just got to take them. But at the same time, that shreds so much value, like you'll be like, oh, I really want this guy. But if you're going to take them a round or 2 early, all the ground that you think they're going to kind of, close over the season, it's just, going to be a bit of a detriment to you, I think.
Flanders, we're going to give a bit of a shout out to Pistol. He's just made his way into the chat. Do you know a man that is more passionate about sports than Pistol?
No, I don't know a man that's more passionate than Pistol, and especially about sports. Man wears everything on his sleeve, and this man is all over all sports here. He's even jumping into some NBA stuff, even though it's not his sort of thing. So it's good to see him getting behind us over here.
He loves the Miami Heat. So we're about to talk about some Miami Heat players. Well, we just had Norman Powell picked at 92, Simon, 93, Clacko, Nick Claxton, 94, Shaden Sharp, 95, Zach Eady from the Memphis Grizzlies, 96. We see some centers are starting to go now. Klingon at 97. Jalen Suggs, 98. Johnny Collins, 99. And to bring up, raising the bat, Khalil Ware from the Miami Heat. Barrett on the turn. Tatum. So, King Josh, that's an auto pick there. Tamorni? Kamara? I feel like I'm saying that right, but I might not be because it doesn't sound right. Malley, I like his two-way ability, defense and for threes. Is this the year that we saw towards the back end of last year, some of these younger Portland Trailblazers players were starting to break out a little bit? You've got your Shaden Sharps, you've got your Scoot Hendersons, you've got Denny Avdia, you've got Donovan Klingon. You've got some really nice young players there that, breaking out together means more wins, obviously, but for fantasy, do you see any value in Kamara being within the top 110?
Now, one thing that they did with him, especially in the like not even in trash time, in real like NBA where it counted, games, they played him a lot of minutes. But the problem with him is there's another couple of guys in that team who can play the same position he is. So it's not like he is, someone like a Mark Williams who you're like, well, no one behind you really is worth, anything, and you can just do what you want. You're going to have all the minutes you want. But then again, I think he did that last year, and there was the same guys there. Realistically, I mean, everyone's got a little better, or the ones who may have been challenging him have got a little worse. But yeah, I really like him. I think he's, Tobias Harris went 2 picks after, and I kind of see him as a more exciting Tobias Harris, less points, more defense. He's just fun to watch too. I just like guys like that. He would have been perfect on my team. But I've still got a couple in my queue as Matrix makes his pick who are value, and they'd probably be guys that I'd pick up in 12 team before I'm really going to guys that, I wouldn't touch in 12 team. One of them just went to Matrix. He took Bezelis. I really wanted him.
So did I.
Yeah, that's probably one of those guys.
I was looking
really
to.
Want him. Yeah, 2 rounds ago, you probably had to take him. I think Matrix is bloody lucky to get him there, to be fair. Like, he's better than, a good chunk of the guys that came before him.
I do want to say thank you to Matrix for dropping Bezelis onto the waivers late last year in our Dynasty draft. I went and grabbed him, and he'll be staying with me for a long time, I think. Malik Monk. I had to get that one in. Sorry, boys. Malik Monk goes at 104. Tobias Harris at 105. Andrew Wiggins, 106. Russell, from the Mavericks now, Flanders at 107. There's some value here with him and starters minutes, especially with Kyrie being out for a lot of the season, but it's a very particular build that he would benefit from being a part of. You got Harden, you've got Kobe White. They shoot, they pass the ball a little bit. Yeah, not bad in that sort of stack.
Yeah, I think we discussed this build before, and we're probably all a bit not sure of where it was going there, but I think it sort of gets a bit back on track there. I'm sort of a big fan of D'Lo. Again, he's getting drafted before Kyrie because he's going to play, at least half, probably 2/3 of the season that Kyrie won't as Kyrie's replacement. So I'm a big fan of getting him there. What's that going to be? 107. Like again, you're going to get a good 2/3 of the season out of him at first round pick value. Well, not first round pick, but as a starter value.
Yeah. All right, let's.
Where are you going here, mate?
Yeah,
where are you thinking here?
I really like Jaden Ivey. So we'll
me
grab
too.
him, but let's talk about so Russell, Devin Vassell goes to Sweet Chili Philly 108, Bobby Portis to Brano 109, DeJounte Murray to you. Really like that. What's his injury outlook? When's he looking like being back?
Still looking like it's going to be a November return for him. He was ranked 44th last year, and I've picked him up there at 110. I'm going to miss a month and a half of him. Realistically, he's probably not going to be fully fit until end of November. I'm going to get December, Jan, Feb, March, and half of April out of him. Yeah, 110 value. Thank you. I had him and Kyrie in the queue at the time. So
Matrix with Bazelis, Scoot Henderson goes at 112. CJ McCollum, the vet, at 113. Murray from Sacramento, 114. Mathurin, 115, like that. Tari Eason. Tari preseason, Malley, at 116.
Yeah, I like that. Obviously, he's definitely.
Oh, you picked him.
yeah. And it wasn't an auto pick like old Sar. So of course, I can't really say that I didn't want him. But I think of what he did in limited minutes last year, and he was so strong. Like, to play that many minutes behind a guy's, he had injuries and other bits and pieces in his season. I know that he's like the team's got better, therefore his the time on the court's probably lessened, but he doesn't have to have any more than what he had last season when I'm picking him up this deep. I don't think I'm going to be able to be beaten in steals. I think I'm going to be very challenging to beat in blocks. My points, I'm going to be, it's least over the 50% mark, maybe in close to the top 75 kind of range of points. Free throws are gone, like they're non-existent. Same with threes on my team. So I think as far as a punt goes, I've done fairly well. Got to finish strong now.
Richard, our Dynasty League is 12 teams, and I'll have to check. I think it's 15 deep.
Who's else? Top. What's that? 175 value there. 185.
What are you talking about?
Dynasty.
Sorry, I missed that. Oh, he's got massive value in Dynasty this year. He'd be top. If you're starting in Dynasties this year, probably top 50 pick for me, Malley.
Yeah, no, I think in Dynasty or Keeper, you've got to get a guy like him early. I was just saying that I put myself in a position too where, because I've only got one guard eligible guy on my team, I really had put myself in a bit of a pickle, a bit of a bind where I had to get a guard at this pick realistically, because they're especially point guards kind of really drift away to the ether after this round with only 3 rounds to go. I picked up a guy, even though there was guys I had in my queue who I wanted more. He was probably about the 4th or 5th down. Brandon Pajemski is going to be really good on my team because it doesn't matter if he gets to the line and stuffs up. I'm hoping he gets a few assists and a couple of points would be good too.
Flanders, Pistols asking, when's Terry Rozier going to get drafted?
Is he going to get drafted?
might be a sleeper at the back end.
Bold call in the last if you want someone to drop.
But after Malley's Tari preseason pick, the commish picked Stephon Castle. Really like him as a young player at San Antonio. Herb Jones for a bit of defense at New Orleans. There to Kizza at 118. Jaden Ivey, I took at 119. Keontae George, 120. Colin Sexton. Bit of value there in Colin Sexton at 121, Malley.
Yeah, I think realistically, I was going to say it depends if they try and squeeze him into a starting role or whether they keep him on the bench. But I think either way, he's going to be pretty happy because if he runs that bench unit, the world's his oyster. I did consider him. I just think Brandon was a better fit on my team. But yeah, I really like that. And then Jay Riley's gone and got himself Kyrie Irving. Which is, like if this was a league where we had a spot to put him in the IR, I still don't know if I would. It's probably late enough now that who cares? Because if you're going to work the way of Hawaii, you're going to be able to keep a Kyrie in one of your spots and probably still do all right. I just worry that he just won't come back this season. It's not like, how long do I wait? What if you waited, till Feb and you were like, well, he's not coming back? Like, that sucks, especially if you were, in the fight and then you've got to, wrangle your way into a victory. I know this is probably a bit on the nose, but I'm really liking the Commission's team. I don't know if I would have taken Flag that early. I probably would have, but you have to. I mean, because if you want him, you've got to get him there. But yeah, I like his team. I like the guys that he's picked up. I thought Castle was a great pickup there.
Do you think Harper eats into his minutes at all at the point?
Did Harper get injured, or what was it? Or something's wrong with his
That's surgery. He had surgery.
Okay. He's still going to be right by the start of the season, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but it sucks for a guy who's a rookie point guard who's going to miss, the preseason. You need that. Like his preseason is the actual season, which means that his mid-season is his beginning of the season. It just pushes everything back. And as a rookie guard, that's just danger. For this year, if you're picking him up in Dynasty Keeper, something where you can hold on to him, who cares what happens this year? He can have all sorts of operations. He can have a facelift if he wants to, or go to Turkey and get some new hair. But realistically, I think for this year,
mid to late October for Harper. Braino, giving you a shout out. You've sniped him 3 times, so watch out.
Yeah. This will be my last podcast by the sounds of it. Then, been great being here, guys. Appreciate it.
Enjoyed the good times.
Where were we? Lively at 122. Casson Wallace 123. Bilal Koulibaly. Love saying that name. 124. Brandon Pajemski 125. Drew Holiday 126. Dante DiVincenzo. I love it. 120, what's that? 7. Kyrie 128. Probably wouldn't pick him there. Evis Missy 129. PJ Washington to Matrix 130. Quentin Grimes. I liked what he did at the back end of last year, but does that continue at Philly? We'll see. 131. Wendell Carter to the Brain 132. Like that pick. He's got definite top 80 upside if he's starting and playing good minutes. Kyle Filipowski 133. Daniel Gafford 134. Ayo Dosunmu 135. Now we're starting to get into, lads, where we're into the back end. So you've got your 6 or 7 keepers for the year, and then you've got your 2 to 3 that you're rotating through waivers depending on how they perform throughout the year. Malley, I'll ask you, because I know you've been a part of these leagues for a long time. Is this where you start to look for value? Is this where you're looking for your diamonds in the rough, or you're still looking to solidify your squad?
I might go one more pick. I think I might go one more pick, and then with the last 2, because even someone like a Brandon Pajemski, if you took some really big risks, might be a guy that you have to end up sending back to the waiver wire, not because they don't deserve to be on a team, because that would be a wild guy to throw back. But if all things check out, he might be the worst player on your team, which would be an interesting position to be in. I'm starting to look at Edgecombe, I'm starting to look at Bailey, some of these first-year guys. I just would like to wait another round, but I don't think they're going to be there. I also don't really care if they're not there. I have no patience. Matrix will tell you, he's played with me for a long time. If you don't show out in your first 2 games, then forget about it. Like I just have no patience at all. I think these rookies, I can never take them because they do nothing while I have them, and they will do something later, but they're never going to do something for me because I turf.
It's rocks or diamonds, isn't it? With them,
definitely.
Schroeder at 35, 36. Santi Aldama 137. Aaron Gordon 138. Isaiah Collier 139. Brook Lopez at 140. Not a bad area if you wanted to take Brook Lopez. He will get less minutes this year, but we've seen in the past that he's good for threes and he's good for blocks. Jared McCain coming back from that knee injury last year, 141. Carrington from Washington, 142. Harper at 143. Auto pick, come buckets. Jordan Kuminga, 144. Flanders, with the contractual dispute that's going on at Golden State right now, do you take a punt? Do you think that Golden State are going to play him to try and maximize his value? Do you think that it gets ugly and he sits? Where do you see this going?
I think they're sort of forced into at least bringing him back on some form of contract so they don't have the no trade clause to battle with. Like they need to at least bring him back on some sort of contract. And that way they at least get the ability to trade him. And I think if he comes back on an offered contract, and he can be traded, yeah, I'd happily take him because I reckon they'll move him on to greener pastures for him there. But if he comes back on a no trade clause, like on a qualifying, I'd be probably a little more scared off him. So he probably moves 30 picks for me, depending on whether he, is signed or whether he's qualifying offer.
For sure.
I was just thinking too with our friend Brook Lopez, his blocks, even though he's the slowest man on the court, was still reasonably strong even last year. But I don't know with him how much he holds back knowing that he's got to stay out there and he can't really risk foul trouble. Otherwise, they're going to be without a starting center who they really need to be a floor spacer. But I wonder this year when it doesn't matter, is he going to be the what's his name of the team? Is he going to be the Daniel Gafford of the team or of the league?
Yeah, that's right.
Where he gets crazy blocks per minute that he's out there. He plays 15 minutes, he averages like 1.3 blocks or something like that. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Well, even towards the back end of last year, mate, let's go to April. He was averaging still 30 minutes a game, 82% from the line, 5 rebounds per game. So he's a center that you're not getting any boards out of, but still averaging 2 blocks a game and 15 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so still shooting 40% from 3.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. But again, at this point in the draft, in a 20-man, who cares? Like, do whatever you want. It's just kind of like this now is vibes and just seeing where your radar kind of is. I'm in an absolute golden era now because no one really out here that's still left on the board is going to score more than, I think, maybe 12 or 13 points to some of the higher guys here. And that's going to be perfect for me because that's not really something that my team needs any more of. I'm not going to be a top 5 points guy, maybe even a top 7. I'll probably sit somewhere around maybe the 7th, 8th, 9th mark because I have Zion and what the guy who was the second highest point scorer last year, and Giannis, who's going to do more of that because no one else in his team can get anywhere close to getting a point. But yeah, like I'm looking at my list now and I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to worry about that now. And that's all that's left. We've just got these random little specialists, someone who can get a couple of rebounds, somebody whose field goal percentage is insane, someone who can get a couple of steals, like Alonzo Ball, who's probably the guy I might, if he's not taken, pick up next just because he is going to probably get a couple of rounds value ahead of where he's being taken, but knowing that I'm going to have to throw him back probably after a month or 2. But that's all right. I would love to free up a spot at that time anyway, because that's enough time for the dust to settle and see who's performing beyond anyone's expectation is just sitting on the wire.
For sure. Jabari Smith, 145. Scottie Pippen, 146. Kevin Porter Jr., 147. DeAndre Hunter, 148. Aaron Naismith, like that, by Brano, 149. Keontae George, big ups for his season number 2 at Washington.
Kai Sean,
sorry. Jay Huff, there's no relation either between the Georges. I've worked out since our last podcast. Thanks, Kingy. VJ Edgecombe at 151. TJ McConnell at 152. He's a nice little stats filler there, Flanders.
Yeah, he does a bit. And I think obviously with no Tyrese this year, again, he's always had some minutes there. I think there's guys ahead of him in the depth charts, but I still think he's going to get his minutes. He's going to do what he's always done. And I think in this deep of a league, he's a nice pick up there.
Keon Ellis, 53. We're into Luigi ball here now. Where are you looking to go, Mally?
I was going to take Ball, but I don't think anyone else is going to pick him up on the turn. And if they do, they can have him. I'm looking at some upside kind of guys like Diabate, just because that's really anyone's shot at starting center. I don't know what he'll do if he does get it. It's not like he's one of those guys like Huff who played well in limited minutes and now is going to get big minutes. He's a guy played averagely in limited minutes and is probably going to play averagely in larger minutes. Bailey's an option for me. I was going to go Smart because he fits my team, but I think this is a little interesting one. And this is a bit of an upside one, but he's out of his rookie year. So that I just wonder, is they obviously want him to become some version of Bane. There's no one really else on that team. Or at least going to be on that starting lineup who's going to be able to score a lot. He's probably their third best scoring option on their starting unit. Like Edie, that's not his game. Obviously, he's going to get a lot less shots up than Triple J or Jar. But then you look at they've got KCP, that's not really his game either. I like that. I think that maybe he can. Not that's why I picked him up for. But because he does other things well, like his defense is pretty good. It doesn't really translate well over into fantasy, but maybe it will start to this year. Poach him straight out of my queue, mate. And the guy you're going to take is Alonso Ball, is sitting currently at 1. So we'll just remove him out of there now. Thank you, mate. We can return the favour.
I want to hear your thoughts on this guy that I'm about to take. So Cole Anthony's been a bit of a up and down pick, a waiver wire pick in the previous 2 or 3 years that he's been in the system, coming off the bench at Orlando. He's got a genuine chance of starting even at Milwaukee or getting starter level minutes. I'll ask you first, Flanders. How do you see his fit alongside Giannis at Milwaukee?
I like the fit. I don't know. I still reckon KPJ is going to get the start and they're just going to run a tall lineup. But I do like it. I think they're going to give him options. I think they're going to give him a run out there. So, yeah, I think I'm a fan of the fit. I think most people beside Giannis is going to look pretty good.
I also think, too, there's going to be games where they are close and they just need to get Porter off because they can't deal with his shenanigans and roll Cole out, even if he's not the starter, because he's the kind of guy who can finish games. We saw him do that in Orlando. There is obviously a reason that they were like reticent to play him in Orlando, but you're right. Milwaukee don't really have that luxury. Like, you could say that about Orlando last year at times too, where like their four best guys were all out at different times. But yeah, I just think the beggars can't be choosers, and Milwaukee will have to use him. And he's more in the Huff kind of build where we know that he can do great things, and now he's got more of a chance potentially, rather than who we were looking for ahead of him. Can't even remember who we're talking about. Someone who I was saying is in the shadows, but probably should be staying in the shadows. I can't remember who it was now. Anyway, sure, it was great content when I first said it.
No doubt. No doubt. I've sort of panicked a little bit there and gone Ty Jerome, after is that Trey Jones? Was that no? It's
no,
Tyus,
you got Tyus, yeah. So we got two.
Went to Orlando and then Davion Mitchell, who went to Miami last year and played a pretty good role in their starting lineup to start us off at pick 161. Ty Jerome, my belief is that you've got Jar, you've got Wells, who are going to start. You've got KCP. Who else really scores the ball apart, or who else handles the ball and scores as much as Jar on that lineup or in that lineup, Mally?
Yeah, you're
Am I
right.
missing someone?
No. I think, Scottie Pippen Jr. obviously can score. It'll be interesting to see whether, I think that they're going to put Scottie Pippen Jr. in the 2 spot. I think they liked him there last year, and the team's become weaker and needs more of what he has to offer. I think he'd be perfect there. And then you can have Ty Jerome rotate in and be the guy who plays backup minutes behind him and Jar, and just shuffle one of them over when Jar's not on the court. So if it works out the way I want it to, I think Jerome's got great value. If not, then Ty Jerome comes the third option, and then he's kind of useless, and his best days were probably going to be in Cleveland. But again, at this point, who cares? You wait and see for a week or two, see what they do with him. If it looks like it's going nowhere, get rid of him and just get ready to pick him back off of the waiver if once Jar goes down, which after the 2 weeks should be about when Jar's had enough and commits a crime or hurts himself to have a rest.
So I just got some logistical issues on the back end here that I'm trying to fix.
you work the whiteboard there, mate. I'm always happy to talk. So just looking while you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. At the turn there, we had Tyus Jones and Davion Mitchell, who I loved. Ty Jerome, big upside pick. Bruce Brown, I'm not interested. I know he's gone back to Denver where he did his best work in a long time, but he's a journeyman now, and I think he plays like a journeyman. Mitch Robinson, love that. I think he's going to get great rebounds. He'll get some blocks, and he, like a Jerome, depending on how that starting lineup shakes out, could see himself potentially in the starting lineup and have our friend Karl Anthony Towns slip around to the 4 where he's very comfortable in playing. Ball, whoever picked him up, is an absolute legend. Let's not talk more about him. Ace Bailey, I like that. He was the next guy in my queue. It's rookie time, especially in a league this deep, in a position this late. Klay Thompson, uninterested. Hendricks is another guy I had in my very diminished queue. I'd love
How's
to see.
that leg injury coming along? Have they said much about that?
I think he's all right. I think he's
Good.
I think he's going to be right to start. But the problem is the whole team, because it's so young, evolved so quickly in the time he was gone. And I wonder if the train's pulled away from the station. Ricochet after him, cool. I hope he doesn't get the start, but because he was picked in the point that he was picked, and he was in conversation for Rookie of the Year, yada, 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 I'd say that they'll probably have to start him because Atlanta fans might get the sads if not. And Chris Paul, that's just because you want to watch his last plays before he retires.
Yeah, I'm not a Chris Paul fan. And sometimes you've got to put aside those personal biases for the good of your fantasy teams. But you are a fan? Did you say, Flanders?
I'm a fan of him, but just not fantasy. I think I can get behind everything that he is, but if he's not going to score in fantasy, I think you're bang on there. I didn't like the idea of having Draymond Green in my team. I'm not a Draymond fan as a actual fan, but he did everything I needed for my build, so I was happy taking him. It's probably the first time I've taken him in a mock or a real draft in probably many years, if I haven't at all.
Now, last mock we did, with my last pick, for a bit of a joke, I picked up Thanasis Antetokounmpo, and then less than 48 hours later, they gave him a contract. Who would you like me to use my magic on this time with my last pick? Who's someone who currently isn't on a contract, and I'm not talking like a giddy, who you'd just love to see get another run? Because for you boys,
that deep?
I'm willing to use my magic up just for you.
Andreas Biedrins.
Patty Mills. Oh wait, is Patty Mills? What's he doing now? Is he in the NBL? Or is he never going to be in the NBL?
I think there was talks of him signing in the NBL, but I don't think he has yet.
Clippers, according to this, but is that still correct?
Excuse me while I get RSI scrolling so deep that that there's names.
Willie Cauley-Stein.
Oh, that's a good one. I love that. Do you want he's always asking for it. In celebration of his his Hall of Fame efforts. Do you want me to get big? What's his name? Orlando guy who Shaq hates. Name's escaping me. Center, Hall of Fame center. Just got to the Hall of Fame.
Dwight Howard.
Thank you, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard.
I only had DeAndre Jordan going through my head, so I was all out of
there. Oh my god!
Man that owns the best alley-oop dunk of all time.
There's a guy called Kyle Fogg. I'd love to see him get a run. I'd buy a Fogg jersey.
Anyway, we got Klay Thompson. Very, very late. 167. Taylor Hendricks, 168. Zachary Richardson, 169. Nice. 170. Chris Paul. Igor Demin, 171. Chris Boucher. In Australia, we say Boucher. 172. Really good value there in a team that, well, we don't know what Horford's doing. Tingus Pingus is gone. Could get some minutes at the center spot there. So really nice late pick. Kyle Kuzma, who does not much at 173. Caruso, really like that at 174. Kelly Oubre Jr., 175. Sammy Hauser, 176. Ryan Corkbrenner. That's a big upside pick because they've got Musa Diabate, but then it could be Corkbrenner Malley at the center spot there at the Hornets.
Yeah, it's a 3-horse race, and all the horses are lame and have been put out to pasture years ago, or are waiting to go out to pasture, but they're too young. Again, at this time of the draft, go nuts because that could pay off. Imagine if you could get 10 and 10 from him every time he played. That'd be sick, and you'd be stoked.
Jeremy Grant fallen all the way to 188. You're just going to get consistent numbers out of Jeremy Grant. Are they good consistent? Probably not, but at 188, it's worth a gamble. Isaiah Jackson coming back from an Achilles. We know Miles Turner's not there, so that's a nice little flyer pick there, 179. Then at 180, Gary Trent Jr. If you've got playoffs, Gary Trent Jr., that is massive upside there. The nipple at 181. Sohan at 182. We're into the last round. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, bell. Here at the Ball Logic podcast, we call it being the triple banger. It helps us get out into the community and out into the ears and eyes of those that love their NBA fantasy. Flanders, your picks in 5-6 picks time. It's your last pick. You're obviously looking for upside. Who are you targeting?
I'm going to go for a guy that's going to bet on himself. I think Malik Beasley is coming my way.
Malik Beasley.
Yeah, he'll bet on himself this offseason, I think. So
has he been signed again?
No, but I'm just banking on getting a 3-streamer that's just elite for that anyway. So I would be banking on the fact that somebody's going to pick him up at some point for that, and I'm just going to get ahead of the pack there. At worst, I drop him and pick him up. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just trying to look through the teams now as we're finishing out to see. I always like to think, especially in mocks where, someone else's team could end up being your team, whose team I would trade for. I'm kind of liking the look of the Commission's team. I actually don't mind Flanders. I like your team. So if this was like, what's that little Christmas tradition where you get a gift, but then if you want it, then you can swap out for one that's better. I'd be doing
10-player trade? 10-player trade each way? Yeah?
Yeah, 10, definitely 10-player trade. So I'd probably I like the start of Nate Dogg's team, and then it kind of just he just kind of started to do whatever he wanted.
Geez, a lot of these guys have been on auto pick too, so
yeah, true,
it does make it hard.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see a few of these guys going in the last round. Like Robinson, would have thought he'd be gone. Sohan, Knipple, Clarkson. Like there's still value here for sure.
Yeah, Grady Dick. Sorry.
Like these are the kind of guys that
got excited.
If these guys
really?
If these guys were taken in the last pick of a 12-man, you'd be like, fair enough. And they're the last pick in a 20-man, and we're still like, fair enough. Just goes to show, really, for the last 3 rounds of picks, you couldn't really do anything wrong. Like, you just pick up anyone who you've heard of before, and you'll have as good a chance as anyone who's done all the research.
Watch Brano snipe me here.
You've got the commish singing your praises in the chat.
Bastard!
We like that.
Bastard! He's listening.
Brano, that's a great pick.
Brano's listening.
for the Commissioners League. He has 3 spots available in K League, L League, and M League together. N League. So if you're playing your mathematics games at home, there's 20 people in each league, and he's down to N League. He's also got auction drafts spots available. So please, down below, it'll be in our description. Click the link, send us an email. We'll get you on to the Ball Page president, and he'll fit you in. No worries at all.
Runs a hell of a competition and has for a long time.
It's over 10 years now, isn't it?
Yeah, and evolving, like he's willing to move with the times, which is cool too. So that's why I couldn't do a league for this long. I wouldn't be happy to change anything. I'd be like a dinosaur, mate. I would have gone extinct ages ago. No one,
with
say
those
again,
headphones especially.
Yeah, I would have been hunted out.
I see you playing with them. I'm like, oh, we've got to bring that up.
Yeah, I forgot because I'm not looking at the camera. I don't know what I'm doing. I probably picked my nose for the last 3 rounds. Just hold on to your seats, boys, because we're only 3 picks away from my pick, and it's really going to rock your world. No one's listening anyway, so this is too late. Who's got an hour to listen to a podcast? So we can just do whatever we want here, say whatever we want.
Nearly the 100 people that are watching us at the moment are waiting with bated breath.
Oh no! Well, tune out now because I'm about to lead you into Hack City. So one of my posts the other day was about playing the dirty game. Like trying to get a trade out of someone by using false means. And I've just found the absolute perfect name who can do that in 2 separate ways. And when I pick him up, which won't be too long because Luigi Ball's about to make his pick. His team actually looks pretty good too, but he's been here the whole time. So none of those have been autos. He's had a good think about it. He took Embiid where I probably would have taken Embiid basically at that 50 mark. So again, if that hits, mate, that's so good. All right, check this one out, boys. You ready for this?
I'm waiting with great anticipation.
Now, let me explain. Zion James, he's a rookie, and here's the 2 things that he can do for you. If you are trading with someone and they can only see text, they're seeing James, and they're thinking they're getting LeBron, and they're all over that like stink on a pig. Now, if I'm making a phone call to one of you guys, and I said, yeah, I'm happy to trade Zion, and you're like, he's happy to trade Zion? I know he's got Zion on his team. Mate, he's dumb. Like, does he think he's not going to play? And then I say, all right, gentleman's agreement. Yeah, happy if I put Zion in? And you're like, hell yeah. And then across comes Zion with an S instead of Zion with a Z. Tell me I'm not a genius.
Unreal. You're thinking way ahead of the times here, aren't you?
That's it.
Ranked overall 1066. You had to get in this round, mate. He wasn't going to sit on waivers too long.
Oh, there he is, old Ben Simmons too. That's definitely a homer for Kamish.
So the last round for those that are listening on audio, 183 Duncan Robinson, 184 Ryan Dunn, Al Horford, 185 Grody Dick, 186 Halliburton, 187 Clarkson, 188 Malik Beasley, 189 Dillingham, 190. And I'm going to up you with your Shioni James and go, well, I'm going to make this a 3-team deal. And I'm picking up Bronny James.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan Brooks at 191. I'm not even going to say that name. 192. Hang on. Give me a go. Kaman Malak.
Malawak. You were close.
Caris LeVert. 193. Luigi Dort. 194. Chris Middleton. 195. Your man at 196. Ben Simmons. 197. Nikola Topic. Really excited to see his game, lads, and how it evolves in the OKC system. They've just got so much talent there stacked in their system that they're going to be a successful franchise for a long time to come. They had to tank for a long time to get it to this point, but I'll tell you what, it's a really good time to be an OKC supporter. And Contavious Caldwell Pope rounds us out. That is the 200 players that have been picked in this 20-man 10-round draft. We'll be putting these up on socials so then you can get a bit of a look and let us know your thoughts as to who drafted well, who didn't. But for now, Malley, where can the people at home find you, my good man?
I'm absolutely littering Instagram at the moment. I'm on a post today, and I think I'm flying with that. So go and have a look at I think I'm Malley _ fantasy takes or Malley oops or something like that.
You'll be able to see him, linked in with the Ball Logic website there on Instagram. Yeah.
Thank you, mate. There you go.
Flanders, you're there as well?
Yeah, Instagram, X, come find me, SC_Flanders on both. So come have a chat with me and we'll talk some basketball.
And for all your horrible takes, I am the horse. So get around me and my shit takes. You got Malley, you got Flanders here and know a bit about NBA basketball, but we are inching ever so closer to the NBA season. It is important, as we keep stressing here at Ball Logic, get your mock drafts done. Work out where people are going. Try different builds, because I can guarantee you, and so can these guys, when it comes to draft season and drafting your team for the year, it never goes according to plan. So you've got to be able to pivot. You've got to be able to know who works well with who. So get those mock drafts done. Like, subscribe, put the bell on. Get inside our Patreon as well. We've got stories going up almost every single day in there about your players that you can draft in this year's NBA fantasy season. But for now, on the horse, Flanders and Malley, we're out. We'll catch you next Sunday where we pop out another mock draft. We'll see you then.